Good evening, everyone. My name is Clay. This is the Wolf Den 808. I've got two great players here. I'll let them introduce themselves, channels, and all that other good stuff, plug in what they like, and we will begin game. Just to start us off, the guys have returned. Our samurai have returned with Kage, the Haruma champion. They brought him back, worse for wear. His men are dead. They're resting. And the last thing that they remember is they return to their rooms, passing by other dragon and unicorn clansmen. They were awoken, or excuse me, they awoke their companions. When Ide entered his compartment, his Yojimbo woke up and addressed him differently. When Void Dragon entered his compartment with his family and other dragon, his cousin, Yoko, addressed him differently and threatened him by reaching for a katana that wasn't there and responding as if he was an intruder. So we're going to pick up the game from there. We'll just turn it over to you guys for now. Introduce, do your thing.
I'm Justin, and I'll be playing the young Miyamoto Void Dragon. And yeah, I think where last we left Void Dragon, he had come in upon his own chamber, and yes, it looked as though he was about to be drew upon. And so that's where Void Dragon is with probably trying to hide a surprised look.
Very good. We'll turn it over to Ide.
Hey y'all, Andrew Knapp here. I'm playing Ide Kenpachi. That's Unicorn Clan. Former Moto Bushi, current Bayushi Bushi. That's right. That's Scorpion School. Where we our last left off, I was just figuring out that my Yojimbo is not quite who's supposed to be inside her mind.
So we'll start it with, since you're the last one, Ide, we'll start with you. So you see Utaku. She's in the probably an anti-chamber, and they kind of break up into the different units, one for you, one for her, one for the other unicorn of your station, your cousin and whatnot. And she looks at you. She gets a little shy. It looks like they put her here. The Kuni had put her here. They kind of probably looked her over. She was sleeping. They just put her down here, changed her, cleaned her up, and checked her for taint, which she does not have. And as she kind of sits up from her mat and her pillow, her kimono kind of opens up a little bit, and she's kind of shy, and she's looking away from you. Her face is red. She looks down. She knows that she's exposed. She covers up real quickly, and she kind of cowers there underneath the blanket and everything else, and you see the top of her head.
That's a new look. I don't think I've ever seen you be bashful.
Ide-sama, what are you doing in my chambers?
You're my Yojimbo?
I am not.
Are you okay?
You see me in such a state. And all the magic that I performed out there in the Shadowlands to protect us, and you treat me like this, like a common. And she just blushes red again, and she tucks herself underneath the blanket.
I don't know if you suffered some kind of head wound, but I've never known you to cast any magic.
Please get my aunt and have her. She kind of sighs a little bit, looks back over at you, and go ahead and give me a awareness sincerity roll.
Okay. Uh, 17.
That does succeed. The mannerisms and how she's holding herself is not Utaku. And then it clicks that she is showing the mannerisms of Yoko, Miyamoto Yoko.
Hey, Otaku, that's pretty good. I didn't know you did impressions.
Um, as you're kind of shuffling and you're laughing, bellowing out, she freaks out a little bit. She raises her hand, and her eyes kind of roll up a little bit, and you're being pushed by a gust of wind. And she's calling on you. You don't understand the language she's using. She's never used the language. Again, it's in her voice and everything, but her mannerisms and how she's holding it, and you're getting pushed. Almost not. Think of a strong wind, and it's slowly starting to build. You see the soju screens that are inside to block off, the dressing area and different things are getting blown around a little bit. That wind is starting to pick up as she's just
Hey, what the hell are you doing, Otaku? That's not funny. As I try to like put my feet down and get him underneath of me so I can resist the wind.
You're strong enough to do so, but it is starting to pick up, and she just and then all of a sudden she stops as she notices for the first time her hands, these womanly hands that are calloused and from all the years of sword training, and she just falls back, her head hits the floor, and she's out. I'll cut there as you're kind of look dumbfounded and turn back to Void Dragon. Void Dragon, you've entered the room. You see your cousin reach for, it looks like a katana at her side, doesn't see it, and is just staring at you with almost, not hate, but scorn. A woman that's been scorned, and you're in her chambers. You notice she's got an under kimono on. You think the Kuni witch hunters probably came in while you were cleaning yourself up, had come in and taken care of your cousin, and I imagine your mother as well. But as soon as you enter, she kind of sat bolt right up, saw you, and she's just looking at you as if she's ready to spring. Your 12-year-old cousin.
And I believe Void Dragon would he'd stop it right in his step, and he'd say, "Look around to either side of the room. What is this great offense? Where is it?"
"Why are you in my chambers, Miyamoto-sama?" And then she stops, and a look of surprise across her face. "Miyamoto-sama, chambers." A look of distress crosses her eyes. She looks at her hands now because she just wasn't looking at her body. She just hadn't looked away. And her glance goes back down to her hand and the weapon that's not there. And again, she raises it up and looks at it. "What foul magic is this?"
I'd hold up a hand in sort of a yielding gesture, and I'd say, "Yoko, perhaps out in the Shadowlands, that terrible miasma that afflicted your scalp, perhaps it still vexes you. You're acting strangely."
You see Yoko reach up to her hair, and she feels it, and it's just shaved, just ragged from where she cut it and all that other stuff that you guys have done to help her. And her hands start to shake. She takes a deep breath, and you notice that she's reciting a sutra. And you think she's kind of getting a kind of a twang in her voice, almost like a unicorn twang, because it's just different pronunciations as she's going through it. And her hands are shaking, and she stands up, and her kimono kind of parts. She's no longer modest. And, "Who do you see, Miyamoto-sama?" And she's standing there defiantly in front of you.
I see my cousin Yoko, and I'll step forward and even grab her garments before they can fall all the way away to try and recover her or comfort her.
For a moment, it looks like she's going to strike you, and she lets you hold onto her kimono and put it back. "My name is Urotaku. I am a battle maiden of the Unicorn Clan," and she's bellowing this out as strong as your cousin can bellow, but it's in your cousin's voice. And go ahead, Kenpachi, give me a perception investigation to see if you kind of hear it.
Okay, let's see. Ooh, not rolling too hot. 19.
You hear some muffling sounds, but you don't really hear it. Someone is yelling, but you kind of don't really decipher from the end of the castle that you're on. Back to Void Dragon. You see that your cousin is just staring at you defiantly, and again, she just kind of crumbles. I am Utaku of the Unicorn Clan, and she kind of passes out.
And I'd let her collapse into repose, and I'd back away slowly, thinking that maybe a rest is the best thing for her.
Okay, we'll cut there and head back to Ide. Ide, what are you doing? Your Yojimbo has just passed out, collapsed from her seated position. She just blew you with some type of kami magic, and then she collapsed.
Yeah, I'm going to try to go get. I don't remember exactly what her relationship was. I know she was a unicorn Shugenja. How was she related to me? That woman that was doing me and Miyamoto up before.
Oh, you're talking about Naomi. Yeah, your wet nurse.
My wet nurse. Yeah, she's still here. Or did she never come to the castle?
She never came. You have other unicorn here, but you don't think you've got a Sakenja.
Damn. All right, I'll try to go to whoever I would think is in charge of like a medicine or a physician and tell them something's up, that she clonked her head and she's acting strange.
You guys have been here probably over a week or 2 weeks or so off from when you've arrived in your travels in the Shadowlands. And you kind of got your way around. You head out, you head down below, and you notice that think of a chamber that's filled with probably medical treatment. And you see an elderly woman there. She's got the face paint on. You know that she's Kuni. She's probably a retired witch hunter, and she's probably a healer because she was one of the people that saw to your Yojimbo and to Yoko. She turns. Yes, Emerald Magistrate. How may I help you?
My Yojimbo is acting very strange. She just tried to get out of bed from her recovery and was shouting and hooting and hollering. And then she did something that resembled magic.
Her eyes light up a little bit. Really? Well, you've come to Kuni Yina, the right person. She gathers up some of the equipment that's on her table and puts it in a small pouch, and she follows you. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm very ready.
So Mina comes up and she follows you. She's not too spry. She's kind of elderly. She probably didn't want to retire. Excuse me, by the looks of her. So they're probably just using her as first aid and a nurse, doctor, or the equivalents. And she goes in and she feels around, touches the skin a little bit, opens the eye. She spends about 10 minutes going through it. She pulls out something out of her bag, and you get a whiff of something very acidic, very strong in your nostrils. And you see Utaku kind of wake up, and she's looking at the Kuni, and Kuni-sama. And she's looking, what is your name, child? I am Miyamoto Yoko of the Dragon Clan, prodigy of Master Sojin.
I start laughing again. There she goes again with that impression. Pretty good, isn't it?
The Kuni kind of gives you an old lady look saying, shut up. And she turns back. But she doesn't say it. She just gives you a look. And she kind of pets the girl's face. And they kind of starts to mumble a little bit. Closes her eyes and looks up, mumbling still. Emerald Magistrate, would you be so kind as to get Miyamoto Yoko from the dragon and bring her here if she's able? You might want to get your friend as well. And she's kind of got an excited expression upon her face.
Yeah, go get him immediately.
Thank you. And she bows.
I give a little curt nod and turn to go do so.
Okay. You make your way. You and the Miyamoto are on the same floor. And by while all this was happening, your Soji screen is not fully closed. Void Dragon is still there. And just at that point where you've let her fall, you're kind of standing, making your way, kind of looking at her to see if she's okay. That's when you hear noise behind you. And that's when Ide, you look into the scene, you've made it to his area, and you see him standing over Yoko. And she's somewhat exposed, her kimono's askewed, and she's kind of laying there on the ground, unconscious.
I'll immediately put my hands up over my eyes and say, "Oh, am I interrupting something?"
Oh, of course not. Please do come in.
He'll like peek between two fingers on one of the eyes and walk in and say, "One of the Shugenja from the castle here has requested that you and Yoko come over to my room. There's been something strange going on. Is everything okay here?"
Well, it's quite strange, actually. I came in here and found the young Yoko awaking from slumber, but she claimed to be otaku. Yeah, I believe that is your very Yojimbo.
Well, that's weird. Because, my Yojimbo was doing these impersonations of Yoko. They're pretty good, too, I had to say.
Well, I fear that otaku or Yoko or whomever is collapsed right here in rest, it may be in no condition to be summoned anywhere. How would you propose we rouse her?
I guess we could carry her.
And would there be within eyeshot some Edda that we could command to carry her?
You could bellow out, and there'd be some Castle Edda.
I'd call it quietly out the hallway, and if no one answered, I'd holler.
They come within seconds. About 3 of them rush in. Yes, Miyamoto-sama, how may we be of assistance?
The young Yoko here needs assistance in traveling with me and the unicorn Ide.
They're still bowing. They bowed right away when they entered, not really looking at you, just kind of pointing themselves at your voice. And then, hi, right away. And as they open their eye and they assess Yoko, they look at you and a look of, uh-oh, what did I just step into? As she's still lying there, since nobody helped her up, and her kimono is askew, and she's laying there and she's looking at you, looking at her. You think these are probably young boys, 12 and maybe 14, in between the 3 of them. And they look at you, and then they rush over to her. Their hands are shaking a little bit as they're trying to fix her kimono. They look back at you, making sure you're not going to cut him down. They look at Ide, making sure he's not going to do anything to him. And they kind of put the kimono on him. And one of them takes the blanket, throws the blanket on him. And they kind of carry her like a pig in a blanket, one at each end, or 2 at the front, 1 in the back. We will follow you, Emerald Magistrate. And they're visibly shaking.
Hey, don't drop her. That's his cousin, and it might be my Yojimbo. Maybe it's both of them. I don't know, but you better be careful.
The one, it looks like there were 2 for her legs, 1 for her torso. We got one of the guys at the legs. Yes, Ide-sama. And he rushes over. It looks like they're about to fall, but they catch it, and they follow whoever is leading, waiting for you, trying to restrain from just passing up from shock and the possible threat of them dropping her.
Yeah, I'll lead the way.
Okay. A few moments pass, and you're back in your chambers. Void Dragon, you notice that Utaku is kind of standing there with a kuni, an old woman, and they turn, bring her this way. And you guys all see Utaku's face just go pale white as she's looking at Yoko's face, wrapped in that blanket. Just pale white. She's just shaking a little bit. And you see the kuni go over and do the same procedure that you saw Kampachi is feeling her, open her eyes up, smelling her. Then she rubs that smell. You both smell the acidic, just it really cleans the sinuses, stink fill the air. And you see Yoko wake up. Moments later, she looks at herself, at Utaku across the way, and she shakes visibly for a little bit, and she just stops. What is your name, my dear? I'm Utaku, the unicorn. And you see Yoko stand up defiantly. Her kimono's now more on, but she stands up. Kuni's looking back and forth. She turns to you two and says, did you face any Oni? Anything of the Shadowlands while on your travels?
Boy, did we.
Tell me what you found. What did you face? What did they find? Did they touch something?
What was the name of the Oni with the two faces?
Okay, let me check. It was Oni no Kimil.
Oni no Kimel.
Let me check this. Check her knowledge. Just 1 second. She kind of looks like she's she kind of kneels down a little bit and she starts to tap the floor. And probably a good minute passes, and then you guys all hear the floor tap back. I've requested some of my sisters to join us. Moments later, 2 other Kuni witch hunters come in, younger, and they start talking, and you hear, you guys are kind of being ignored as the 2 girls are standing side by side, and the old ladies in front of them and her 2 sisters kind of walk in, and then they start talking to each other really fast. One of the new arrivals jabs a thing of jade into him. Nothing happens. Jabs it into the other one. Nothing happens. And the look of disappointment crosses that one's face. And you hear, their souls have been swapped. I didn't know that Oni could do it. I thought it ate the souls. Excitedly, all 3 of them turn to you, Ide and Void Dragon, and say, what happened? What did this Oni do? How? Tell us.
Well, you see, and my hands come up, and I lick my lip, and I look at Void Dragon.
When we were in the Shadowlands, this pack of foul equine or horse-like Oni beset upon us. They were held at bay for the most part by the protective wards of the young Yoko, but a phlegmy projectile ended up dousing her brain pan with what would surely have been some sort of foul magics, and I was able to apply some water to wash it away post haste, but I fear maybe it has some lingering effect, but it is definitely beyond my realms of study.
They kind of assess you quickly. Did this creature touch her? Did they touch them together? Did they touch them separately? I do not think spittle. And they look back and they kind of roughly grab Yoko's head and bring her head down to look at the burnt flesh of her scalp. And they kind of let it go. They're kind of rough. They don't have a good bedside manner. They turn back to you two and says, The oldest one says, Oni no Kamiyo has the ability to eat souls. It is rumored it has the ability also to switch souls. You must have stopped it before it was able to eat one of them. By lying on the flesh of two different individuals, the souls are swapped. If their resistance, their willpower is not strong enough.
Well, it did. There was this like weird breath that came out of its mouth, like a cloud.
She goes back and she starts to touch Yoko and Otaku. Well, they're not tainted, but they're no longer who they once were. You, and she kind of points at Otaku, are Yoko. You, pointing at Yoko, are Otaku. It seems that the kami obey your commands, Otaku, or Yoko. We will need to research this, Emerald Magistrates. We could summon the Oni, or another Camille Oni. Be very dangerous. And we need to know that Kasada-sama, let him know what we plan to do. Or it would take a group of us, and my sisters and I are the only real Sekenja here of the Kun. What would you like to do?
Well, if it's Oni Camille, it doesn't sound like it was the equine beasts I was thinking of. But what other efforts would a warrior such as myself need to take in order to match one? Should I need to meet one in the field again?
If you're able to identify it, it's a soul eater. It is also a shape changer. By what your stories say, and they describe the creature having a face up front and a skull, or another face in the back of the skull. They kind of describe her to a T of what you saw, just matching the description of a crab woman in front and a skull in the back. And then as it try to take another form, that face kind of shifts to the back. Don't let it touch you. Don't let it breathe on you unless your will is strong. Very peculiar. We've never had this result before. Normally, we do not get the victims. They can continue. There is no physical damage to them. But their mental state, their souls have been switched. So she looks at the two of them and says, others may not believe you, though you are samurai and your word, your honor is your word. But Otaku cannot perform the duty. She doesn't have the knowledges that your Otaku had. And Miyamoto-sama does not have the skills that she used to have. Until we can switch this, they are going to be who they are not. But they may still have to honor who they inhabit.
Can't we just switch their duties?
You could, but this is a dragon and this is a unicorn. People are not going to take she's kind of stopped, doesn't know how to say this.
I mean, we are Emerald Magistrates. That's got to count for something testimony-wise.
Let me ask you this, Magistrate. Let us say your wife, though you do have no one now, let's say your true love was switched with another person.
Oh, I would kill that person. And it goes down to my sword.
Kunia, be calm. But what if you could rescue them, but it took time? Your love, or the person inhabiting the body of your loved one, would have to honor that body. You know, a mother would know it's not her child, but it's the face of your child. It's not evil. She's not tainted. It's just her soul has been swapped. It may take time before we can swap them back.
I understand.
And then you hear Yoko, I will not be put aside. I am Otaku. And you just see a 12-year-old Yoko saying that, standing there. You know, she's been
Hey,
adolescent.
I agree with you, Otaku.
And Yoko in your Taku body says and points over to Yoko. That is the Taku.
I know. I agree with her. I think that she needs to continue her obligation as my Yojimbo.
Otaku kind of raises her arm, and she's got skinny little 12-year-old arms instead of the older woman that she is, the training. Yes, I will not fail in my duty. I will continue as your Yojimbo. And Yoko, trapped in Otaku's body, I cannot live like this. And she looks, and she's all buffed up.
Hey, that is a fine unicorn body. One of the best I've ever seen.
The body of Yoko gives you a stern look, a pervert look. You see Utako's body moves over to her Void Dragon. She kind of reaches out a little bit, and her hands come down. She's kind of looking eye to eye with you, Void Dragon, and says, cousin. Looks like she wants to panic a little bit, and she starts to breathe. What do you want me to do? Shall we tell you, Auntie?
Well, I see no need to rush to tell her. If it's time we need to return you two to your places, then perhaps we can accomplish that before Auntie needs to be consulted.
She has a look of relief, and yes, I'll think of a way to get myself assigned to you. I will tell my master. And she looks at her big, massive, it's not unfeminine, but her hands are trained for war and all the calluses, and she just looks sad. You know, she was like a damsel, you know, a young woman, not even past her Jimpaku, and now she's this big, burly woman. Tear kind of wells up in her eyes. I will get myself assigned to you. You might have to sign over some requests to have me help you. Yes, and she turns to Ide. Now, Ide-sama, the embarrassment, possible, looks over at her body, dishonor, failure. I couldn't stand to bear that. I'll commit seppuku if that's the case. She bellows out like a kind of a little girl throwing a tantrum. And Yoko Body says, the hell you will. You'll do your duty and we will switch. Isn't that right, Kuni? And the Kuni just raised his eyebrow. Know your station, little one. Oh, Otaku and Yoko's body's just starting to shake. The anger and rage is just starting to bellow out. Yes, Kuni-sama. And Yoko, the body of Yoko stands away. Otaku's body's shaking a little bit, tears in her eyes. It looks like she's going to fall into your arms, Void Dragon. But you know that she's pretty buff. She's pretty damn heavy, too, even without armor. But she catches herself. I won't disappoint you, cousin. And she kind of takes a few steps back and crumbles.
Now, Yoko, what are you on about? Your honor? What?
You don't understand, says the voice of Otaku, and you don't understand. We can't let it get out. Maybe Kasada-sama should know. Takakana, he has to know. Auntie should not learn, but I am trapped in her body. People are not going to know who I am. If I do something, they're going to see it and bear witness. I could disgrace the unicorn. I could disgrace her.
Now, that's fine, but what you're suggesting would require you to stay with me and her to stay with him, because it's going to look fishy as hell once we reassign people like this.
That's what I'm saying. I'll have to pretend and be assigned to you. Or she'll need to, and she's getting confused, pointing at her body across over there, and you see her talking, or Yoko's body just hitting her palms, like like she's ready to kick somebody's ass, and then she's like, "Ow!" As she doesn't realize that she doesn't have the same strength or the body structure that she used to have, and she probably just sprained her wrist.
Oh, I don't know about that, Yoko. Otaku is a battle maiden.
I have her. And she kind of jumps up a little bit, and you notice, like, think of Cocoon movie where they don't know the strength of their new bodies. Well, she still tears in her eyes. I will do my best to honor Utaku. I am Utaku, Unicorn Clansman. It doesn't sound right to you, Ide, and it doesn't sound right to you, Void Dragon, but I will be your Yojimbo.
I turn and kind of look at Void Ray like, well,
after seeing this almost spraining of a wrist in a display of martial non-prowess, I would look to Yoko in her now swordswoman's body, and I'd wonder, do you think, and I guess I'd wonder aloud, do you think, Yoko, can you still speak? And I'm like already sort of pretty sure she can't, but I'm wondering if she can dabble still.
You kind of broke up. You asking her if she can still speak with the kami?
Yeah, if she can still dabble with her Shugenja ways.
Yes, cousin, I still have communication with the kami. My gifts are with me. I'm just using her body, but my mind is mine. And she's confused, and again, she wants to swoon. We need more rest. And you hear grumbling coming from Yoko's body. Cousin, you need rest as well. Utaku facing you in the battle maiden, but you get the mannerisms of your cousin. Please, let's return. And you hear, "Oh, I am Miyamoto Yoko. Come, cousin," really stiffly. "Let us return to the dragon quarters." And she starts to walk out the door.
Is this really a good idea, Void Dragon?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay. I was
And
making sure.
I'll clear my throat and adjust my collar as I go to follow.
Yeah, the fake Yoko is walking. She's stiffly, think of a military march. She's stiffly walking back, and then she'll look back at you. And again, coming from Yoko's mouth, she does the whole horse snort. She looks at herself and tries to relax a little bit and sound pleasant, but it's like someone faking, trying to be pleasant. "I will try my best, cousin. We need to go to sleep." And then she's dealing with her duties as your station is outranking her. You're the son of the Miyamoto Daimyo, so she's after you. And she waits for you, her head down, a little more docile.
And I'd give her a gentle and dismissive wave as I passed by.
You hear grumbling as you pass by. And you hear, "This is going to be a long time. Those fucking Kuni better hurry up." And she'll follow behind you. We'll cut there as you make your way back to rest. No problems getting back to your quarters. Your eyes are really heavy from all the activity. Back to Ide. You're alone. The Kuni have excused themselves. We'll come back when we have more knowledge. We'll inform Takakana-san about what has happened. It should remain with the 10 of us. And they bow out.
Well, what a weird turn of events. So you're really up for this, huh? You're gonna try to be my Yojimbo.
I will do my best.
Okay. So first things first here. Okay, let's see. Yep, Yojimbo duties. Every night before I go to sleep, Otaku rubs my feet. I start to take my shoes off.
Okay. Give me it will be a cordial roll, and she will contest it with sincerity. You get your Metin's blessing.
Okay. Explosion.
Do you beat a 16?
Oh yeah, quite handily.
Okay. She resists. She kind of takes a deep breath. I will fulfill my duties. And she waits for you kind of to sit, and then she kind of sits on the back of her feet. And she starts to rub her hands to get them warm.
I hold up my hand and she's rubbing her hands, and I say, that was a joke.
It went right over her head.
No, you don't actually have to do that. Here's what your job will require, though. You're to watch me, to watch my back specifically. You're going to need to aid me in battle should the need arise.
I understand.
And in return, I promise to look after you. Better so, actually, than most other clans would. The unicorn treat their subordinates very well.
She bows, still kind of kneeling before you. I believe it's good to rest. And she kind of looks at you. Now think of all those teen movies of when the boy is left with the girl alone and the girl's shy. She starts to get that shy look. And she's, in the big body of Utaku, but she's acting really shy and giggles after every other word. Now that you've teased with her and you're joking with her, she's kind of giggling and really awkward, but she climbs back into her side of where her Tommy mat is. You're kind of in that chamber. Your chamber's behind the Soji screen. And unless you say otherwise, she's kind of going to go lay down.
Nope, that's fine. I'll get up and start walking over to my room, and I'll say, now just remember, this was your idea to put up this little charade. So I'm going to act like you are otaku in public, but you're obviously Yoko. There's only one otaku.
Yes, Kenpachi-san.
And yeah, I'll turn my head away from her and then roll my eyes, and I'll walk over to my room.
Before you lay down, you hear, "Good night, Kenpachi," and before the end, as you kind of drift off, you hear Chen, Kenpachi-chen. And right before your eyes fall asleep, she just gave you the term of endearment instead of san or respect like sama. She gave you a term of endearment, and you notice that she whispered it. So Otaku, in the voice of Otaku, but you know it's Yoko as you drift off to sleep. She gave you that, that little girl. She's waiting to give you a love letter kind of thing, and she says it out loud, a little bit out loud as you fall asleep. And that's when I will turn it over to Andrew as his dream starts to slowly fade in, and he's remembering his first day at Bayushi and his training at the Bayushi school.
Okay. So my training at the Bayushi school was absolute. Think of it like this. You're the new kid at school and the only one that's not wearing a mask. Imagine this kind of like a Chris Nolan Batman Begins Ra's al Ghul training camp flashback. We're at like a secluded camp. I have this completely cruel, over-the-top old son of a bitch named Bayushi Kagetoki, who is my instructor in the Bayushi ways. The first lesson, the way of the Bayushi. And the way of the Bayushi Bushi is to always be ready, to be able to strike first, to be able to identify threats when they're a mile away. So how did they accomplish this? Well, for a normal recruit, they might have done shit like in Bloodsport. Put a bandana around your eyes, stand around with some wooden swords and beat the shit out of you while you try to sense where someone's coming from without being able to see them. But since I was an outsider from the unicorn, they decided to do something a little bit more severe. And I blame this on the fact that I had a blood feud going with one of the Bayushi horse thief from my youth that I've never settled up with. Just so happens one of the Bayushi there, a Bayushi woman named Komi, was that same Bayush's mother, and she took the chance to try to get rid of me. So she actually assigned the brother of this man I was feuding with, a guy named Sozin, to be my shadow. The idea was this: no matter where I went, he would follow me around. He would watch me, waiting, fangs are ready, just to jump from the shadows and sink right into me and destroy me on the spot. Now, ideally, this was going to teach me to always be aware. You know, I'd be sleeping with sacks under my eyes, with a big puffy face, one eye open. I'd be watching behind my back, eyes in the back of my head wherever I went, and this would make me more alert and teach me that vital skill that's a prerequisite to learn the ways of the scorpion. However, this son of a bitch really took it to heart, and he tried to murder me time and time again. I've been walking down the road, there'd be some sakura blossoms blowing by, and coming out of the tree, I'd see a flick of some kind of fang shaped like a saber slash a katana, and it would come whizzing by me, and I'd barely move before it takes shards out of my hair. But I endured, and in the end, I got a piece of him. I remember it clearly. I went to the bathhouse because I'd had an extra hard day of physical activity and sweating. Normally, I would leave all my implements outside, but this particular day, I felt the eyes of the scorpion upon me. So I took my katana, I took my bushi scimitar in with me into the bathhouse, and I even submersed it down in the water. This thing was sitting right next beside me in those springs. So when the scorpion kicked down that bamboo door with his katana drawn, hissing like a snake, I just jumped up in all my manhood and I slashed, and I caught him right in the shoulder and maimed his arm. Scorpion wasn't all too happy about it either, but they did cease the training, and I was awarded the first rank of the school. And it seems because of my actions, the blood feud has thickened quite a bit. I don't think it'll be too long now before I meet up with this old Bayushi horse thief.
Very good. So with your training in your dream, few questions. What arm did you maim of the brother?
I'm going to say he was left-handed, and I took his left arm.
You took it off. You severed it.
Yeah, at the shoulder.
Okay. Severed it. Did you ever disrespect the mother or have conversations during your training with the mother?
We never spoke directly, but she knew who I was because, well, she had seen me before because I had the writ for the blood feud, but I exchanged many nasty glances with her.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. So you did the evil glances at mother. Okay. Okay. What does your sensei think of you? What is your honest opinion of your sensei's thoughts of you?
At first, I'm pretty sure he had absolutely no respect for me because I was a unicorn. But after he's seen my own machinations and how I dealt with the brother of the man I was blood feuding with, the Sozin, and how I so quickly took to this manipulative form of combat, I think he begrudgingly now gives me the respect of a novice. Personally, I think the man's an old windbag. I'm learning some of the. I'm using the tools he's teaching me, but I've yet to so far be impressed. I think the Moto Bushi school is superior.
Okay, so that's the dream that you have. You're remembering your training, and I'll add one other part to it. You notice that during some of your most difficult training, when you're being harassed by other students, the brother of your nemesis, you're getting the evil glances during your mealtime. All the students, like the picture you see there, kind of line up on the floor, small tables eat, and they eat while their masters and the different masters of the dojo are there, the different rankings. You see during one of those days, the master has you guys all line up in the dojo. There's quite a few of you there, and a woman walks in. You recognize her. She just kind of, in one moment you're eating, you're told to stand up at attention. Everyone jumps up almost unison-like, turn and face, and you recognize the advisor to the emperor, Bayushi Kakuko. And she makes pleasantries with the masters that are sitting before you. They eat, There are 6 of them. They eat at the head of the dojo, kind of like in the picture where you see the signs and the armor. And they face you. You guys sit in the middle. And she just looks. And you notice that for a moment she looks dead at you. And through her silken mask, which you can see her features, a cat-like grin comes up. She turns to the headmaster. He bows. He goes, up there! And you guys all bow to her. She is the head of the clan, or her husband is. They bow to her again. You bow. Or do you bow?
I bow ever so slightly.
Okay, I need to write that down. Okay, that's the only added that I'll add to your training is she does make an appearance, and you're exhausted during this lunch period. Just all the training you've been through. You're at your weakest point, and she shows up. And then she kind of walks away with her Yojimbo beside her. She's got 7 Yojimbo that follow her. And the only one that you kind of recognize as you go away kind of is in the garb. He's wearing full armor, but he kind of gives you that evil vibe. He looks at you. He's menacingly. He just almost radiates evil that you feel. Or not disarmed, but evil. If he was a Shadowlands creature, you'd think he was an Oni. And I will cut there.
Does that evil radiation remind me of the evil that would radiate from a horse thief?
Yes, worse than a horse thief. Think of someone that stole your father's breeding records, your clan's breeding records of your horses. Not just one horse, but they got your entire breed.
Oh, yes. There's going to be some revenge.
So we're going to cut there. You're still dreaming away before you have to wake up and report to the report. So we'll cut to...
by the way, I'm speaking in my sleep as I'm dreaming, and you can hear, oh, no, horse thief. Yo, Bausha, horse thief. You're going to get it, horse thief.
Okay. I will cut there. Void Dragon. We won't do your training scene just yet, but you do have a scene that comes up that we'll run through. Part of your dreaming is you find yourself at your sensei's house. He's invited you for a cup of tea. There also is his wife. Again, he is a Miyamoto. He's probably in his late 70s, your sensei. He is a master of your school. He does run the dojo. His wife is there. His daughter is there. And his granddaughter is there. And you're all having tea together. You've kind of stripped off. You're just wearing your kimono. In his home, the respectful thing is to do is you're always armed, but there's swords everywhere. You can always grab your weapons, and your sword is placed next to his on the rack, the honor rack. His is above, but yours are right next to him, and the other students have racks off to the side in the dojo part of his home. And his daughter is Miyamoto. One second, I'm going to pull my note over here. Amiki. Miyamoto Amiki. Think of her as your sensei. This is his granddaughter, by the way. Your sensei always uses her as your sparring partner. She's very good, and you're very good. You're a prodigy. He knows that the spirit of Miyamoto lingers to you, and you think that Miyamoto follows him and his granddaughter. You guys almost have this kindred spirit. Monkey. And you guys have trained a lot together. And she's always almost at one step. You do catch her, but she's always very good. You guys go almost for good 3 hours during your sparring session once you guys decide to give it your all. Your bow can fly, but you're having dinner with him and his family. Your father is out meeting with other clans heads. And he turns to you and says, "What are your dreams?" He will call you Watanabe, because you're remembering this is in the past before your Jinpaku ceremony.
And the young young Miyamoto would turn and answer, "I dream of most greatly of finding perfect enlightenment." And in doing so, and after doing so, serving the Dragon Clan to my.
Justin, are you there? You broke off.
Oh, was it cutting out? Well,
Yeah, you cut out when you said serving the Dragon Clan. That's the last I heard.
I think, yeah, that was the last thing I said.
Okay. He turns and nods. That is something there. Your sensei, he knows a lot about you. You've worked with him in a while. You've worked with his granddaughter. Even his daughter, you've worked with her as well. And he turns. That is honorable. You hear kind of a ding, 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 a chime kind of go off to the front. You see his daughter. Her husband had died. His son-in-law has died in one of the clan wars with, excuse me, with the Mantis during a battle during a merchant dispute. And she lives with her father, and her daughter, his granddaughter, lives with him as well. She leaves to go to the front door, and moments later, as you guys are still discussing philosophies of two sword weapon wielding versus the Crane's single sword style, you see an old man. His skin is wrinkly. He's bald. He's got big bushy eyebrows, and he's got tattoos covered fully on his body. On his neck, it looks like it's a dragon's throat. You see the scales and everything onto his chest. On top of his head is a bellflower. You see on his forearms, he's got waves. And on his back, he has a raven. He comes in, think of, you've all seen those martial art movies. He's got the big bald necklace, you know, the medicine balls, prayer beads.
Oh, yeah.
But again, he's pretty wiry. You know, he's strong. Think of Bruce Lee over some guy that's a bodybuilder. And he comes in and he's got his walking stick. He's got his dirty robes on, his kimono on that's open, more like a jacket instead of a kimono that goes to his feet. And he's coughing, and you notice the mother, or sensei's daughter, kind of leads him in, and sit down. And he comes in, thank you. And he kind of bows, puts his hands together and bows to everyone. And our daimyo's, our clan champion's son is with us. You know that he is a tattooed monk. He is a Tagashi monk, an Izazumi is what they are. And you can't tell how old he is. You know he's probably older than your sensei. You've seen him around a bit. You know, he just kind of disappears, kind of got that whole Batman vibe. You see him, he nods, waves to you. He'll eat with the students. He'll work with some of the hand-to-hand styles. He'll come in if they want to learn. He'll throw them around a little bit. He speaks a lot of philosophy, a lot of sensei, and of the kami.
And I'm sure Miyamoto Watanabe, he'd be hanging on this man's every word, as he's been keenly interested in the order, all his all during his tutelage in the Miyamoto school.
Yeah, and that's when you kind of remember some of his training. This old man has trained you in hand-to-hand, and you could never up-one him, but he would demonstrate a move to you, and then he'd allow you to use him. And you've seen him fall and really not get hurt. And he slaps you on the back and says, "Eat, boy, you're getting skinny. Your mother would be ashamed of me if I didn't, if your sensei didn't feed you." And he's kind of poking fun at his friend, your sensei, and your sensei kind of scuffs. And more rice, more fish is pushed to you. You notice that your training partner, the granddaughter, kind of snickers. but you've gotten kind of used to this as you're younger, of this Tagashi. It comes in, he eats. He's a little cryptic. He's a little weird, happy-go-lucky. And you've talked before about tattoos and the style of, you know, what he does. And I imagine you may have asked him in the past on how to get one. And he says, well, do great deeds, but not great deeds for one. You must do it for many, not for yourself, but for others. And he kind of smiles at you. And as this dream kind of fades and you're thinking, you know, this old man, you feel kind of at peace. You know, your trials in the Shadowlands come together with you. Your bond that you know is open with Ide is refreshed. And you feel that connection. And you just feel at peace as you wake up. And as you wake up, you hear, "Get up, Miyamoto-sama. The wedding is over and the reception is about to begin." Your eyes open up and you see Yoko standing above you. You see her, think of a young girl first wearing makeup and dressing herself in fine clothes and her kimono. She looks horrible. Her makeup is not added right like Yoko's would. She's not standing kind of like a feather in the wind. She's kind of got that military pose. But you notice that her legs get tired as she stands there for a while, and she kind of has to move around a little bit because she's not used to the pose. And you hear, "Please get ready, Miyamoto-sama, and wipe that smile off your face." And that's when you think that maybe you had a good dream, and maybe she thinks it might have been a wet one. And she kind of walks away in a huff.
And sure enough, once I've collected myself, I'll put on my fineries.
Very good. The one thing that is done as you start putting on your things is your equipment is immaculately clean. Your armor is done. Your kimonos, what you wear, you know, around the castle when you're not in battle, is immaculately clean. Your saya, your sash, everything is clean. Your weapons, only the outside of your weapon has been cleaned. You notice she has the same kind of mentality. Only you would actually open it and clean and go through the ceremony of cleaning. Though a Yojimbo can't do that. You see Tomori-kan standing there, and you see Yoko kind of quiet, subdued, but kind of smiling at Tomori-kan. And you know that Utaku is trying to remember how Yoko responded during their travels. But she's not very good. And you know, Tomori-kan is too honorable to question her.
Would it be impractical for me to finish the cleaning of the inside of my blades presently?
That's not a problem. You have plenty of time to do that. She just woke you because you have to get ready. So that would be part of your readiness, is to clean your blades. You know, you use it, test it, and all that other good stuff. So yeah, you have time.
Yeah, I'd do that slowly and methodically. And I'd make a point of not enlightening Tomori-kan on the deal. I'd just sort of be observing it as it progresses. And also, I'd go, once done cleaning the blades and performing any necessary sort of a meditative ritual that might be accompanied, I'd fill that bottle of water I had in my little traveling kit as well.
Sounds good. If you do have any katas, you could store it. You perform it here, and you could store it for later in the day. They'll last you for a day. If you had studied any katas, you can perform them as part of your morning rituals. Though it's not morning, it's more towards the evening, but Kasada, Takakana lets you rest because of your travels. You still have to report to him. You know that the wedding, and this goes for Ide too, only immediate family was invited to the wedding. The woman was secluded after Kagi chose his bride. You guys will have to arrive at the celebration, the reception, when the bride and groom and the family come out. So we're going to cut there as you're cleaning, going through your morning rituals, your katas, and warming up.
Windows restart, I think. Because you can't hear him, can you?
No. That was a really cool flashback scene, though. Meeting the old dragon monk.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think you're going to get some tattoos.
Yeah, hello, Clay. Nope. I jinxed it. What's the name of the old guy in Dragon Ball? Is it Sorochi?
Oh, yeah, Master Roshi.
Master Roshi? Roshi? That's sort of what I was thinking of, but with tattoos.
That's pretty great. I have a feeling we're in for some slapstick with our supporting characters switching bodies now.
Samurai Freaky Friday. It's a direct answer to your samurai musical inspiration. Samurai, samurai.
that song's really funny. Are you familiar with that band that does that?
No.
They have some other gems too. They have one called Moscow. That's just them singing about Russian Moscow. It's pretty badass. I've tried to find that actual movie though. That's like in the background.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's called Jimpoku's, or it's The Legend of Zapang, but it has like a alternate title called Jimpoku Seven Blades. And as far as I can tell, it's never been released in the United States or Canada or anywhere in North America.
It's not for our eyes.
I mean, I totally understand. I mean, that part in it where he shoots the ninja with the revolvers with the blade off of the sword. Oh, I watched that video you sent me, the Call of Duty, the Trump plays Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, that's got some hilarious jokes in there. The Trump.
Yeah, it was funny, man.
When he's doing the Barack, and he's like, "Oh God damn it, Trump! Look at the remote control. It's got orange all over it. Looks like just a Cheetos went and molested the PlayStation."
Yeah, it was great.
And Trump's not just so orange; he's got the whole cast of Dragon Ball Z chasing him. The same guy has a really good one that it's just all the best of his Barack playing Call of Duty. There's some good ones there. It's just out of nowhere. He's playing Call of Duty. He's like, "Hey, Michelle, Yeah, close the door. You hear a screen door shut. That's just thanks, baby.
Oh, that's funny. You've been playing your PlayStation 4 quite a bit?
Oh yeah, I just started playing that World of Tanks. It's pretty addictive.
Oh, that's awesome. I've heard that.
There's I think I might rent it tomorrow. There's a samurai game called Nioh, I think, Nioh. Looks really good, like a current generation samurai game. Hey,
Oh, awesome.
I sound okay, guys?
yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that Neo game's pretty good for
Have you-
PlayStation. Yeah, it's really good.
yeah. Do you have a PlayStation 4?
I do. I just haven't recorded or made a Twitch account.
Cool.
Sorry about that. My Google decided to be non-responsive and I had to reset. So let us continue. Sorry about that, who's ever watching. The last bit, what was the last thing you heard, Ide?
I think it was we were just cutting away from my scene ending where I was doing the morning ritual, finishing cleaning the blades and
Okay.
also doing some sort of physical, not really a kata, but sort of. I don't actually have one, but I do that sort of Tai Chi meditation in the morning.
That works. So we'll cut over back to Ide. Now, Ide, before you wake up, the last thing you remember is you're eating. It's that one day that Bayushi Kako arrives, and kind of like a camera zoom, you zoom into her face, and she's looking at you, and she's got a smirk on her face. You feel she knows something, and she hasn't even said a word. And she's peering into and watching your movements like a hawk, and a smirk on her face. She says something to the headmaster, and she kind of puts her hand on the headmaster's shoulder, and as she touches this headmaster's shoulder, you feel something on your side, a gentle touch. What do you do as your body starts to wake up?
My hand goes to the side of my bed where I would have my my Moto scimitar and grab it and say, "Treachery!"
Okay, and as you grab your scimitar, the hand moves away from you. You reach over as if you're ready to strike, and you see Utaku leaning over you, her kimono rather open, not fully, and she's kind of leaning over, and it looks like she's trying to shake you awake. And as you come up, you put her chest falls upon your chest before you can strike at her, and you've got your arm kind of like you're holding your heart, but it's the opposite arm, because I imagine you're right-handed unless you're left-handed. And she's trapped you. Her body's trapping your arm, and she's looking into your face. Her breath smells like blossoms, like almost some type of fruit. She says, "Ide-sama, it's time to get up for the reception." And she just looks at you, and that weight pressing upon you.
I'll drop the sword and say, "Oh, you had me scared there for a second. Thought you were one of those Bayushi coming to finish me off."
Yes, you seem to have called out during the night. I was quite worried. You were remembering a bad dream? You were tortured?
Yeah, torture of a sort. You see, I am a Bayushi Bushi. I study at their school, but I wasn't always one. I was a unicorn, a Moto Bushi. I ended up changing schools, and Scorpions didn't take too kind to an outsider.
Sounds dreadful coming from the voice of Utaku, but the mannerisms and the concern, the overwhelming terror that she has in her eyes that you've never seen before as she picks herself up, and the warmth that was on you is going slightly cold in the winter air. She notices her state of dress, and she covers herself real quickly and says, "The wedding is about to be completed. Your presence, along with void dragons and the others are there. Please get ready quickly. And she just kind of goes beet red, looking at you and whatnot. And she kind of turns and, like a little girl, giggles a little bit and shuts the Soji screen.
I'll straighten myself up and get out of bed and put on my fanciest duds and prepare.
Okay. You both had, by the time you're finished with everything, you both have finished getting your preparations. You're walking down to where they're going to do this. And that's when, are you good to go? Okay, I'll let you. I see Andrew can't speak, so I just seen if he was good to go.
Oh, my bad. I was paying attention.
No worries, brother. We'll press on, and then you can let me know if he's good to go. You guys make your way down into the courtyard where they're having the reception. The different clans are in their areas, and so you're watching two large, looks like bronze Soji screens. You know that there's probably a temple or shrine within the castle that they've gotten married, and they're closest of kin. You find yourselves the seats that are assigned to you. Kasada apparently has got you guys at your own table with your Yojimbo or your cousin. Takakan will he kind of steps off to the side and he's behind you, Void Dragon. Yoko kind of sits next to you, Void Dragon, but you know that it is Utaku. Utaku, or Yoko, stands behind Ide. And as soon as you guys settle in, that's when the bronze Soji screens open, and you see Kage. You see his shadow in the background, but it's Kuhime that walks up first. She's dressed in bright red, her eyes filled with tears. Walking next to her, her eyes filled with wonder, and the tears are shedding her happiness. Kage looks resigned, as if he's given up. Kasada steps forth behind in his big shadow armor. You think the man never takes that shit off. And he steps behind, seats his new bride, and turns and says, "By this time next year, I expect to be naming your son on this podium. Let us drink and celebrate the wedding of Haruma Kage and Haruma Kuhime." The crowd that are there in attendance just start clapping and hooting and hollering, just making a scene. It starts to get contagious, and some of the other clans start to do it. The unicorn, the second loudest. The dragon, kind of golf-like in their celebrations. And the party starts. Ide, are you back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, it's an open part. You know that you'd sent message to Takikana to warn them of what your travels were. Probably within the first hour, unless you guys don't do anything, Takakana shows up to you. Would you like to do something before he shows?
Void Dragon would, if there's finger food or hors d'oeuvres going around, but he would focus on trying to get some calories in while this festivity's going on.
Okay, yeah, they feed you bowls of rice if you look like you're hungry. This is a crab party, so they give you more food than actually what you're used to. It's hearty stuff, a lot of vegetables, rice, and fish. And they'll load you up. You guys are kind of sitting at your own area, kind of an area of honor. Kasada's table is in front of yours in the center of this chamber. And then in the center, right next to Kasada's, is Kage's and his bride. You see Kohime's father beaming ear to ear. you know he's just kind of like won the lottery. That another Phoenix was able, his daughter, another Phoenix was able to secure this wedding. You know, he's just beaming that he's got this honor and prestige that's going to become his. You see the unicorn are eating in. You see Shinto, the female that's been assigned here, that's been trying to work trade with Kage, raises her sake glass. The others around her raise, and they all tribute to Kage and Kasada. But an hour in, what are you going to do, Ide, if you do anything within that hour?
I will congratulate Kage, but it's going to be just like a very short, snippy, formal congratulation. I don't want to actually get into prolonged conversation because I know how he does not like what has happened.
Yeah, he understands, and you break away right when it would be disrespectful to break away before he kind of really gets into it. He resigns himself that you're walking away and he can't vent a little bit and it'd be a little rude to his wife. So you go back to your table. If you're not going to do anything else, Takakana shows up and says, you guys are ready to report your stroll in the Shadowlands. I'd like to hear it. Come with me. He waits for you guys to either stand up or follow him, and he leads you to a back room probably a good 30 or 40 feet away from the main chamber. And he turns and, please report.
And sorry, he's taking us to another room or another chamber?
Yeah, because it's not kosher to speak of Shadowlands and stuff. Crab don't care. They do it all the time, but they're in mixed company, so it would be dishonorable to bring up Shadowlands stuff or to speak of it. So he brought you probably about 30 feet away. You've gone through a few Soji screens and doors, and you guys are kind of, it looks like a storage area. It's probably a 20 by 20 foot room. It's got some rice and different things, but he leads you away from the group and prying ears and eyes. As you are leaving, you notice that Kasada excused himself.
Well, on the return from our successful foray into the Shadowlands, it seems that we have some sort of Oni trickery laid upon some of our party. The spirits of one Yoko and one Otaku have seemed to have been switched or juxtaposed in some manner. And we leave it to the Shigenja possibly to be able to remedy the situation, but it will take time at the very least.
Taka kind of nods. I'd gotten word by the old lady that she was quite excited. They want to summon an Oni to see if they can reverse the effects. It is lucky that your companions were not tainted in this endeavor. I am saddened that they are not who they appear to be now and are trying to maintain that cover to honor your clan and yourselves. It brings you great honor that they do so. What else has transpired retrieving Kage? He turns to Ide. Speak up, boy.
There is the issue of a possible mounting Dark Moto attack on the wall.
Think of a drill sergeant that is kind of tired with one of his recruits when you say that, Dark Moto, and then he kind of glances at your Mon. You would know. Both your Unicorn Mon and your Moto School Mon. Unless you don't wear that at your Moto School anymore.
No, I still wear it too.
He nods. You would know. He does look around as you say that, and he acknowledges it, and a slight worried look crosses his face. My lord needs to know this. Come. And he leads you to the far wall, and he pushes in two of the bricks and the wall opens, and that your eyes notice a staircase kind of going up. Miyamoto, you've never kind of seen this kind of structure. Your own castle, you have secret passages, but it looks like this one is more devious than what your father has done or your ancestors. This leads you all the way up, and you guys find yourselves coming out into the stairwell, into the stairwell landing right outside the chambers outside of the bear's antechamber. You know, that landing right there. Inside the Yojimbo is where you put your weapons before you go into Kasada's actual inner sanctum. Takakana walks in. You see the 4 Yojimbo that normally are hitting there. He says, "Out of my way. Tell Kasada," I jumped the gun. "Out of my way." And he opens that Soji screen. Bam! Even he puts his katana on the table, but he leaves his wakizashi in there. "Come in. Tell Kasada exactly what you saw. Leave nothing out, gentlemen." As you guys are ushered in, do you guys leave your katana on the honor table?
Yeah, I do.
Void Dragon.
Yeah, I would have holding on to my daisho, looking to guidance from the actions of Ide, and seeing him relinquish his blade, I would put mine down in tow.
You're allowed to keep your wakizashi, part of your sister blades, and you as well, Ide. Takakana dropped his. It wasn't as ceremoniously like you'd see someone do, gently put it on the rack and stuff. This is a table. And your time here, the crab are very go, go, go. We're decisive. We don't. And Takakana just kind of almost slammed his down and went inside. You guys gently put yours down. You notice that the Yojimbo that are there, the guards, you've now learned that these guys are actually weaponsmiths. So you notice that they come, and with great reverence, they're putting it on the racks instead of just leaving it on the tables. As you guys enter, Void Dragon, your eyes go kind of dark. This is probably, I think, the first time you've been in this chamber. And as your eyes kind of clear up, you see Kasada. You've seen those pictures before of him wearing the shadow armor. He's just this big, massive dude. And that's when Takakana says, "Tell Kasada everything." Kasada looks at the two of you and waits.
Yeah, so I go right into the Motobushi part because I think that's what he wants me to really speak to. And I tell him, after we retrieved Kage and we're on our way back, we ran afoul of a scouting party of Dark Bushi. Kage himself told me that he was suspected the entire war party probably ranged somewhere between 50 and 100, and they were mustering for something big. His speculation was that they were going to try to mount an attack on the wall or perhaps the castle itself in the coming week.
Kasada, you just notice that he's rubbing his fists, just cracking of his knuckles, and he turns to you, Void Dragon, and is this your assessment as well, Void Dragon?
Yes, it is, and I think periodically while Ide was giving his report, I would have volunteered all the details I could along the way, including to denote the sounds and sort of the military tactic implied when they use their horns in the scouting party, and down to their armament as well. I believe a nodachi and quite well armed skirmishers is what they seem to be, and any other detail I could think of as well.
Dark Moto and Onikage. You guys remember the Onikage are the horses, the Shadowlands tainted mountain. He stands up from his kneeling position, claps his hand once, and you see some of the men that were in the shadows kind of bring forth this huge table, and think of a 3D model almost. Think of a miniature wargaming thing. And you notice that it's built into sections, and on it you see paperwork, you see just miniature wargaming shit, and he's moving them around a little bit, and then that's when you see the Kuni wall, and he's moving around mountains and different things, and he's you hear him say, "This is the changing lands." and he's got his hands. Takakana kind of joins him, and he mentions you guys over. So the four of you guys are standing at each corner of the table, and he's moving these structures around, the sands, the canyons, and it's beautifully made. It's almost like it's origami in certain facets. It's beautifully made, and then he goes here and he points. One of our scouts went missing days ago. So we sent 4 more. None of them have returned. That was 4 days ago. Here, and then he points further down in a southerly direction of where you guys kind of mentioned of where you met the moto. This is where you saw the moto, correct? You see the lava trees. You see what appears to be poppy fields. Then you see kind of the troll civilization, the ruined troll city. And then he moves his fingers down. Go ahead.
I would point to like as close as I can the exact position where I think we encountered them.
Okay. Takakana frowns, rubs his bearded chin and says, Moto riders right to left. So the main army would be, and he points in a southwestern directions, in the fields of human hair. And you kind of looks like tall grass, and it looks like hair moving. And he's got his finger in it. The force could attack Shirokuni. He points over, and along the wall you see another castle. It's scaled, and it's matching this huge table. They could take on Kuden Kuni. Takes another breath. Shirokuni. But if they went east, it could be here in hours. And then he's pointing towards Kudenhida. And if on cue, as if it was like a movie or a play, you hear a burst of drunken laughter coming from outside. You hear Crab, possibly others. You can't tell what the others might be, but the party is continuing outside. And it just hits all of you. Kudenhida has never been more vulnerable than they are right now because of the wedding and the preparation and the amount of clans that are here and the court. That this is a very bad situation. Kasada turns to Takakana, points at Kudenhida, says, gather all the Bushi with experience against the Shadowlands, and any Sakenja who might join us. Tell the Yojimbo of these court dandies to get the fools out of here. Get them downstairs, somewhere secure, somewhere safe. Make sure no one panics. Make sure no one knows too much or can panic, or it will destroy these fools. It will destroy us all. Go! And you see Takakana just haul ass out. Soji screen, the iron Soji screen's open, and he hauls ass out and they shut. That's when you notice that more of the guards were listening, waiting for cues from either Takakana or Kasada. Kasada then turns and points at first at Void Dragon. You and you. Ide, you know this is how he is. He's very blunt, almost to the point of rudeness. But if he's this way with you, you know he's showing you respect. Void Dragon's a little. Your father's never been this kind of direct and kind of bossy. You, in quiet, he is, but to his men, he's more kind of reserved and more, gives them time to speak. But Kasada is taking command. He says, you have served me well. You have served the crab well during this winter court. We would be glad to have you in either place. You may join us in the field of combat. And he kind of points outside the wall where he thinks these men are going to be. Myself, Takakana, and my crab will be there. Or you may join the Yojimbo and other court matters, or the other court dandies, and protect them. That may be a harder job than outside. Keeping the peace, keeping them calm, and protecting them if we should be breached. I will give you time to decide. He turns, 2 of his Yojimbo pop out. One has a Tetsubo that's probably the size of Ide, It's got jade spikes in it. It's just beautifully made. And then he's got a Tetsuchi, an axe. And the axe is made out of jade and obsidian. He turns back and says, "What is your decision?"
I cannot speak for Ide, but the dragon will be marching into battle.
He nods. "That is your decision. Your family, Void Dragon San." First time kind of saying San to you or to Ide. "I must ask them to stay. It is best. Even though you are brave, and I may ask some of them, they belong to your mother, and I would not want to endanger her or to make her feel less secure in my castle. We will defeat this threat. I have never backed down and never been defeated on my home turf. And you, Ide-san, where shall you go?"
I will join you in the field of war.
Very good. Very good. Takakana comes back and he says, "My old friend, I hate doing this to you, but you will lead those below. Kage is with his is with his wife now. I imagine completing his duty. He will remain with them and finish his duty. We will handle this. These Emerald Magistrates will be joining us out there in the field." Takes a deep breath. You see Takakana leave, and he's kind of bellowing out. Moments later, you know he's probably ushering people down below into the hold of the castle to protect them. You hear a lot of, think of parking wars when you get a ticket and people fight back, argue back, and Takakana's voice rings out. You kind of don't know what they're saying, but you get the gist that they're arguing with him. Kasada says, "I do not envy that man. His task will be much harder than ours." He turns, looks back at the map and says, "We have a challenge, gentlemen. If it is Sume that comes for us, he changed his pattern 14 years ago when he attacked Kuni Shiro. Perhaps it has been so long that he thinks that I would forget." And he looks up, and you know that he's smiling within his mask. "I need to know who commands them. The general of the Shadowlands army is the black heart, the mind, and the soul. If it screams in fear, its followers will flee. The Moto do not listen to all of Fu Lin's bastards. This is our one and only advantage here. There are a few possibilities of this general. Oni no Akuma would never attack here. He's too afraid of me. He knows what I will do to him. If it is Oni no Chi, he never hits the same place twice. He never hits the same place once. He spreads out his army. So if it is Chi, we must warn the entire wall. If it is Sunni," he pauses, "if it is Sunni, we should pray for an early dawn. I need fresh scouts, someone to see who commands. Who shall take on this mission?" And he looks, and you notice that as you guys were watching the map and everything else, people have filed in. Takakana has returned, and his face looks like, "Fuck, I don't want to deal with this shit." Others have come. You notice that the Scorpion, Bayushi Mirmo, is here. I had heard, Yasada-sama, that you may need of my services. Kasada says, "If you want to fight, fine. But if you get underfoot, remember, bugs get squished." And the Bayushi kind of bows a little bit. "Who shall go?" Kasada looks at everybody else.
Miyamoto Void Dragon will step forward and he'll say, I I would go. I feel I'm not the greatest scout that is available, but if it comes to striking fear into the heart of this warlord, I might be able to help in that regard.
Good, Void Dragon. Very good. He looks over and says, Haruma Norin, you will accompany Void Dragon. You will help him get there and bring back the intel. You also remember, while this is happening, Haruma comes over and says, Void Dragon-sama, please come with me. And as you leave Void Dragon, Haruma says, what we are going to do is head to the catacombs. If what I hear is true, you've gone through one of our tunnels. We will go through another one. It leads directly to the wall, the one we are going to enter. I will show you how to avoid the traps, and then we will seal it behind us. I already have a kit prepared. And he leads you out. What is your actions, Ide-san, why this is happening? You do have time to respond if you wish to join or you wish to follow other instructions or he's given out other commands.
Yeah, I figure if he already assigned somebody to Void Dragon, they know what they're doing, so I'll wait to take up another task.
Okay. Kasada's looking around. And he's, Takakana. Apache-san. Wait here with me. He sends out his other troops. You gentlemen know what to do. Gather the men. Send out the scouts. Excuse me. Send out the runners to run the wall. Light the signal fires along the wall. Shirokuni must be warned. We do not know what's happening. He turns to Takakan. Keep the courts calm, collect, and get those asses down below. Takakan leaves. You are alone with Kasada-sama, Ide-san. Void Dragon, you are being led to the catacombs. And on your way, you hear some crab kind of ushering the unicorn and give you kind of some of the things you hear as you are being led to your assignment. One second. Damn thing. Sorry. Okay. Your mother and the dragon contingent, you hear this because you're passing down that floor, going down the stairwell, and to gather your other stuff. You've gotten your katana back. When you left, one of the crab bushy offers it to you in a bowed position of honor, hands you back your katana, and you and the Haruma are making your way down. You feel the atmosphere is excited and scared. Shinjo no Shio, that is the unicorn that was working with Kage. She's very strong, she reminds you of a lot of a crab. She's been here quite a while as one of the emissaries here. You notice that she's telling her husband to go upstairs and wait with their children. Supposedly they're asleep, but are probably staying up late. You hear one of the crabs saying that she has to please follow him down as you're walking by. You hear this. Please follow him down to the Lord Chambers. And she says, I will not go. What is happening? Nobody is telling her what has happened. You know that she's slightly related to Ide, but the crab were never given instructions to kind of fill this in because they don't want to start to panic. And she's solid. She stands there and says, I will not go until I get my children. Do you understand? The crab is like, ma'am, you need to, if you question me again, guard, it will be a challenge. And I assure you, you will fail. And he's like, and You hear him, yes, Shinjo-sama. I must gather others. Please make your way down. A guard will wait for you and your children and your husband. You travel on more, Void Dragon, and you run into Shishiro Sakuko. That's the scorpion girl that was jealous. She all kind of was a floozy towards you.
Yeah,
You notice that she's being kind of talking to another guard, and you notice as they're kind of making their way over, and you hear her say, "Well, if you insist, would a big strapping bushy like yourself join me? I would feel more protected." And you see a dumb look, and you recognize that look that you've given many women in the past. Now that you've kind of learning your lessons and the loss of some of your flaws that you're kind of overcoming, you know you've given that look plenty of times. Okay. And he's being led away, his hands being held by a Shishiro. You hear one of them, another person ask, is Haruma and his wife still upstairs? And you hear the guard say, yes. And he's about to say, well, why doesn't Haruma Kage-sama and his wife are fine. Please, this way. And the last person that you run in is trying to help other guards is that Suki Kurako. Remember, she's the ditzy, excited one that passes out all the time. She's the hostess. It looks like she's trying to convince other courtiers to listen to the guards and help them. She looks like she's put together, and you know that she probably doesn't know the situation. She's just following instructions. And that's when you kind of breach and you're going down the lower levels. I'm going to cut back to you, Ide-san. As you're talking to Kasada, a Haruma scout comes in and whispers. And Kasada, he looks scared as he reports, and he says, Kasada-sama, probably a good hour has passed by as you and Kasada have been talking. Void Dragon, you've been getting your kit together and the supplies that Haruma has ready, and you guys are making your way deeper into the catacombs. And deja vu of all the traps and pitfalls and the huge rocks that come down on the tunnel are happening, and you're making your way through. I'm going to get back to that. But back to Ide, you hear the Haruma says, Hida-sama, someone has sabotaged the traps. There's a problem. Hida-sama turns to you, Ide. It appears that your duties, your assignment I was going to give you upon the wall and out in the field have changed. I need you to investigate this matter. If we have been compromised, I will need you here. Will you accept this?
I accept.
Okay. We'll cut that scene and go back to Void Dragon. Void Dragon, as you proceed inside the catacombs and you're going through the traps, the Haruma has brought a light source, and as you guys are walking cautiously, you pass a wire, a triggered rock fall. You easily avoid it. You continue on to another pitfall trap. Easily avoid this with the instructions of the Haruma. The instructions that you have, you guys avoid this. The next trap you find is a pressure plate trap designed to start rollers of spikes jade from flashing from the ground, the sides, and the ceiling. Go ahead and give me an agility check. I will allow you to roll athletics.
Okay. So agility, athletics. 2 ranks. 3. Holy crap. 2 explosions. To keep 3. $42.
Okay. You easily avoid this pressure plate trap, but the Haruma slips. And you know what the trap is going to happen. This guy is going to be eviscerated by jade spikes. You hear a click, and nothing happens. The Haruma looks at you with a worried expression on his face. Let us continue. As you continue, again, you're always being cautious. He's cautioning you about everything. You come to upon another tripwire, and it looks like someone had stepped through it. It looks like it's already been triggered. But instead of an actual cave-in, like it's supposed to happen, the Haruma says, nothing happened. You notice that as you guys are getting further and further outside, getting closer and closer, every trap that you think to avoid has been triggered, destroyed, or dismantled. There's about another 20 of these traps the Haruma tells you as you guys show, and he points it out. And a worried expression gets on his face. He says, "You must push on, Miyamoto-sama. We must push on." You see that there is a you see that there's a portcullis, a gate that you're going to be coming across. And as you go across, you see some people on the outside of that. And as you guys press it and they leave and get close, you don't see anybody. You notice that it's gotten more clogged up as you're going towards this portcullis, this open gate. Now you have to travel single file. Looks like one of the traps had misfired and made it smaller, and you're just kind of squeezing yourself in. You see the open Shadowlands area further ahead of you. You easily can make it there. And as you get so, go ahead and give me a perception stealth check, or you're not using stealth, so just go ahead and give me a perception check.
Is that enough for your dinner to
Okay. You notice that up ahead, you made it into the Shadowlands. You again see bodies, and that's when you realize that the scouts that were sent never made it past this point. And you see 6 bodies, Haruma and Hita's samurai. Looks like they were munched upon by something. Bite marks all over their bodies. You are in the Shadowlands. The Haruma says, "This way, Void Dragon," and he leads you out for a ways. And again, you're cresting this small rise in the landscape. And he gets on all fours and he starts to low crawl. He says, "I know it may not be the Rukaguni thing to do, Void Dragon son, but you are in the Shadowlands, and stealth, hide oneself, is almost a way of life. We are scouts, so think of that." So if you do not have stealth, go ahead and just give me
Agility?
Go ahead. Yeah, give me an agility check.
And I would respond through gritted teeth, just saying, "Hi."
Okay.
And I got a 10, but I don't think it'll explode, right? Or
Nope,
trained skills too?
Untrained does not.
So if it's 3, keep 3, that'd be 15, 16, 18.
Very good. You notice when the Haruma does it, he kind of think of a swimmer that does like the butterfly or breaststroke, and he kind of digs himself in the dirt a little bit, and he comes up kind of like a sniper. He's got the dirt and the weeds and the dead foliage on him, and you guys are making your way, and he kind of disappears. If you didn't know he was there and you just walked by him, you would not know he was there. But you saw him do it, so you see him. You don't even need to roll perception. As you guys crest a small rise, you look down in a small valley, and you see columns and columns of individuals. Think of The Hobbit. Think of the Two Towers. And you see columns of roughly 3,000 goblins, 2,000 undead creatures that you've seen before. Not the Moto, but shambling humanoid, fleshy, undead things. And you see 500 different types of demoness creatures, Oni, that you know. You see one that looks like a headless individual that's probably 10 feet tall, but instead of where its head would be is a mouth, a maw, and it's just chomping at the bit, and it's got 3 talons on each of its hands, if they are hands, and it's got about 10 or 12 feet all around it. It's a spherical shaped Oni, all types. And off to the far side of these columns, these random columns, they're kind of grouped together. You know, the Bakemono, the goblins, are together. The undead are together. The Oni are kind of randomly around, but they're kind of grouped together. And off to the side, almost all by themselves, you see 50 Moto, the dark Moto. You see their eyes glowing in that darkness because it is getting evening time. You also see 4 huge, think of a millipede, but think of it like a subway car, 250 feet long. These Oni, this army, could probably march into its mouth. You see 4 of them. You know that they're Oni, that there's some type of demon, but there are 4 of them in the background kind of walking slowly around. Every now and then scooping up some of the goblins or Bakemono, some of the undead things. Some of the Oni are climbing on top of it, but these things are huge, almost colossal in size. And you're a good ways out. Again, you're a couple miles that you guys have been scouting, getting out of there, going through the terrain. And with this, as you see this, they're too far away, so the fear doesn't get you. The aura of fear doesn't hit you. But go ahead and give me a perception battle roll. If you do not have battle, it'll just be perception.
$17.
Okay, you succeed in your roll. You're assessing it like a commander would, and you notice that the army is broken into small units. And you know that the Moto are in command. You can't tell who's actually the general. You don't recognize, it's just, you've never seen this type of army before, and you can't recognize the general, but it looks like the Moto are the best suited. You know, they're the most organized. It looks like they're in command. I need just a small possibility of them seeing you or someone seeing you. And nope, not with that roll. Even with your 18, they don't spot you. What would you like to do?
I would just confirm all that I already have, seeing that it looks like the Moto seem to be the leadership or infrastructure or the guiding hand in this host of Oni and assorted other baddies. But I would look quickly before making a departure to the Haruma, who I think is still with me, or did he wait at the tunnel?
No, he came with you. You guys enter the Shadowlands. He's going to get you back.
Yeah, I'll just I'll look to him and I'll say I'll just ask him, what do you make of this? My dragon eyes don't discern a leader in this world as of yet.
It seems the horsemen, the Moto, are in charge. At that, you see a giant bouncing cage of bones. It looks like it's ricocheting amongst the different groups, and it's capturing a Bakemono here, a skeleton here, a tiny Oni there. and it looks like it's collapsing over trees, and anything that it gets within, it looks like a big cage of bone. And you notice that it captures a Bakemono, one of the goblins, and it just seems to think that it starts to crush. And then it opens again, this cage of bones, and you see that that creature, the flesh of that Bakemono, that goblin, seems to be mixed in the bones of the cage, and you notice fresh bones have been added to the cage. And he says, son of a... That is an Oni no Takusoro. Oni no Takusoro. He breathes, do not let that thing catch you, or you will be part of him. We must report back.
Yes, let's waste no time. The information we have could prove more vital to a more developed mind than my own.
Okay, I'm going to cut there and return to Ide. Ide, what are you doing? Kasada has left it up to you, and he's left. Takakaru is left with him. They are assembling their warriors and going to go meet the army.
Now, did he tell me which which tunnel of traps he thinks has been compromised, or all the tunnels?
All he said was the room that they brought some of the people into, that storage room that's down below. You've seen it before. That's that huge training facility / storage room where you guys left. He says that's that storeroom on the first level. He doesn't know you guys have been there. It's he says I think that's the only safest place. One of the other tunnels, and he says some of the other ways into the castle, the traps have been sabotaged. Castle grounds aren't safe. We need to get them down below. The storage room on the first floor on the north side, it's tight, but it'll be safest there. Ide-sama. The one to the south bend has been damaged, sabotaged. We don't know by who.
I'm gonna narrow my eyes ever so slightly at him. Does this guy seem to be on the level, or do I detect maybe a hint of deception going on here?
Go ahead and give me a sincerity roll. Awareness, sincerity.
Okay. Because I'm thinking that if we're funneling everybody down in there and traps are disabled, it's going to be like a fucking feeding frenzy. Okay. Ooh, I actually get extra keep one. Okay, so 13, 20. 32.
You think he's being honest. You're picturing back. He sent you to secure the people. Before that, he sent Taki Kana to secure people. And what ended up happening is he went and bullied some of these high glory, high station people into leaving their rooms and stopped celebrating Kagi's married and cloistered them into different locations in order to get them secure. Some of them are still mourning the death of your cousin, mourning the death of, no, they don't know about the others. And basically, Takikana had to get them cloistered down into a foul, sweet-smelling barracks. That's the room that you were going to, that you went to with Void Dragon to go into the Shadowlands. You know where that secret passage is. He was going to push him there, but Takikana came back and reported that they wanted to stay in their rooms. They cloistered them into the rooms to have the Yojimbos protect them and some of the crab. This guy, Kasada, has left, and you were getting reports, and he's kind of put you in charge of the castle. One of the Haruma scouts came in and said, hey, the traps have been sabotaged. A few hours have passed since Void Dragon left, Kasada left, and you've been getting reports and establishing your chain of command. Again, there's not a lot of guards here with you, but there are some. They left a contingent of guards. As you were pawning over the map, you're still in Kasada's inner chamber. He did leave you an attendant. Yoko is there with you. She's fully rested, fully prepared. You do notice that your Yojimbo does have a scroll satchel. That's when the guy came in and says, the traps that are around the castle have been sabotaged. The ones that we've been reported is the training facility, our storage area, is the securest place that has not been sabotaged. We need to move those people down there or where you think they should go. And he's kind of left that to you, but he's reported that the other areas have been compromised. The traps and defenses have been breached.
Okay. So with that knowledge, or with everything going on, I'll say, all right, let's send them down to the training facility. We're also going to need to go and check every single tunnel. We need to make sure that everything has been compromised.
Okay. He calls forth, and a few other Haruma are here. He's left you more Haruma than Hida. They go out. Are you going to stay within this area as your kind of command structure right now while they go investigate?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. You hear some kind of, I'm not going to do that. This is preposterous, kind of wafering up to you. Probably a good 15 minutes pass by, and a Haruma comes up, and also Shinjo Oshito. Remember, that's the 40-year-old woman. She is a unicorn. She's been an embassy. She is bushy, and she's been an ambassador here for a long time. She bullies her way up and says, "What is going on?" She notices, she thinks it's like Kasada or someone else. Takakana's up here. Notices you and says, "Ide-san, what is going on?"
Is it just her?
It's her, and while this is happening, while she kind of gave that thing and the kind of the standoff as she was expecting someone else, some of your scouts return and says, looks at her, and they wait for you to do what you're going to do.
I'm going to nod at my scouts to go ahead and give me the briefing in front of her.
She doesn't say anything as they report. Ide-san, it is true. The castle is vulnerable. Certain locations have been breached. Some of the traps that have been set are dismantled or triggered. It is best to get these folks down into the training facility. They don't know why they're being moved. Some think it's a drill. Others think it's part of the party. We've been instructed to come up with the best answer to their inquiries and not let it slip that there's an army outside that is about to attack, if that is the case, he says, looking at the unicorn woman.
And I'll say, what percent of the tunnels have been compromised? Is it all of them, or is it only most of them?
He says, as far as we can tell, the one in the training facility is still operational. The others have been compromised or blockaded out, i.e., the fail-safes kicked in and have shut down those tunnels.
Hi. Okay. Redouble all your efforts to push people down into the training facility.
Yes, Ide-san. It may be hard to do this. A lot of them want their own Yojimbos to protect them. Others want Kasada himself to protect them. Some refuse to stay. We were trying to keep it from panic. Hell, some have passed out.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and authorize that you up the force that you use. Get them down there.
Yes, Ide-san. We will get them down there. He bows low, and Sinja, she turns to you and says, "So what is going on? An army is approaching? Are we under attack?"
I'll turn and look at her and say, At the moment, no, but imminently, probably.
She turns, takes a breath. I trust Casada. I'll keep this quiet for now. I return to my family. And she bows very, very low, or not very low, very, very shallow, turns and walks away, leaving the Soji screen open. Again, you're just dealing with it. You can look outside the window. You see Casada and his men preparing to meet the enemy out onto the Shadowlands. They're not going to defend the castle. They're going to meet the army head on. In your head, you think the walls fortress has been violated. You may want to do a thorough search room to room. You may want to. You don't know. Give me a intelligence battle roll.
Okay. I'll use a void to become trained in battle. All right, I got 1 explosion. 12, 20, 29, 35.
Okay. This is what you have before we end the session. As you're looking at the map, you're looking at the castle and everything's filling your head. You have possibly a dozen junior ranking Hida and Haruma. You have 3 Kuni Sakenja that can help you enforce order. These to help you force order. But you know that something will slip through the cracks. You have to take command. Casada gave you command of the castle, but nobody really knows that yet. All they knew is Takakana went down there to bully them, to get them started, rushed back after getting his orders to his men. Casada sent Void Dragon and some Haruma scout out to find who the general was and get the information back. You know that the castle, some of the secret passages and defenses have been triggered or destroyed. And you notice that your men are moving to the most secure location that they can think of. And they're pretty trustworthy. The crowd would know their castle. And they're being down, and you think that they are in the best secured location. Think of the picture you see as my background, but instead of windows, it's all stone. Instead of training dummies, you see some, but they're pushed against the walls, and there are rice and barrels of sake and barrels of water. And one of the Haruma asked you to come down and speak with the people. The courts of the dragon, the scorpion, the phoenix wish to hear from someone in charge. They're demanding Casada, and you know you have to respond.
Yep, I will go down.
Okay, you're making your way down into that training area. Cut there again, go to Void Dragon. Void Dragon, you're assessing the army. You're looking at all this. You and Haruma have talked about this. You have to get the information back. That's when you feel as if you're being watched. You kind of turn back, and a file, the forward file of the moto, seemed to snap to attention. You see their pole arms dip ever so slightly, and you know they're either paying a compliment to an enemy or they're acknowledging something. The Haruma, damn, they may have seen us. We need to get back now. We must tell Casada what we found. And he kind of low crawls back, just digging down, dropping down. Again, you guys are on all fours, but he looks like he's burying himself further and just low crawls backwards. And as you guys escape, you hear that horn. Doo-doo, doo-doo. And we will cut there.
Awesome.
at the end of the session. Well, I hope you guys had fun. I know there was not a lot of battle tonight, but we are setting that up for the Lord of the Rings fight that's about to happen. And we'll be bouncing back and forth. Desperate times for both outside and inside are about to happen. Hope everyone had fun.
Oh, yeah.